This is the BBC Home Service from the Midlands. We present Song of a Road, the London-Yorkshire motorway, described by the men who planned and built it, and set into song by Ewan MacColl.
Come all you gallant labouring men, leave your family and your friends. You're needed on the job again on the London-Yorkshire highway.
On March 24, 1958, the Minister of Transport and Civil Aviation formally inaugurates work on the London-Yorkshire motorway.
A job to do, a job for you, and 19 months to see it through. A chance to earn a quid or two on the London-Yorkshire highway.
The task of constructing the 67 miles of motorway is as follows.
Take a heap of gold.
Estimated cost, £20 million.
And a pinch of time.
Time for completion, 19 months.
Take 15 million tons of muck and shift it.
Excavation for cuttings and backfilling into embankments, 11 million cubic yards of earth.
Use cats and dozers, Euclid loaders, 10 RBs. Use grabs and scrapers, cranes and graders, trucks and tractors.
Oh yes, the two-legged machines.
Take 1,000 men from the earth's four corners.
Men experienced in their own particular field.
Add miles of chalk and clay and sand, mix the lot with a steady hand, add sweat to season, and curse in reason. Add weeks of rain and dirty weather and a couple of floods and mix together. Add snacks, delays and toil and trouble and stir the lot with a navvy shovel and then...
You've got a real good road.
We built canals, we laid the tracks of railways here to hell and back, and now we're going to take a crack at the London-Yorkshire highway. So in with the dozers and the trucks, get weaving lads and shifting rock. We'll meet in the pub and drink good luck to the London-Yorkshire highway.
We usually finish the shift in the pub if we end up here.
The pub. Inside the pub there's a lot of muck shifted there, you know. They knock you down there with the jibs and the tractors. They knock you down there.
You see, I'm sort of a little bit of a spread boss on you blokes here because, I mean, say, they drive the Euclids, which is a high-speed hauling of excavation, see. There's 9 against the one machine I have. This one machine loads the lot. It puts my load up in about 45 seconds, which you can say is nearly 20 ton. Now, their prime object is to get back for another. They don't like to see me sitting in the cut there reading the paper with nothing to load, you see what I mean? But the more we move, the more muck we move, like. The more money we earn. The more money we earn. For every yard of muck that we move, we get a penny a yard bonus. I mean, in the summertime, that's our harvest. When the sun shines and we can go to work properly, that's our harvest, you see.
I think it's the soil. I mean, you can trace it all back.
In the beginning, there was the land.
Now, when you dig the ground, you realise what a real bundle of dirt we live on.
Earth-cooled mountains, plains and seas formed. Swirling gases rolled away. Sun in the sky burned down on the saw-toothed mountains. When you're up on the seat in the cold and the heat, you never think what you're lifting. You're bashing away every hour of the day. You're working at the old muck shifting. Cats and back actors, rubber-tired tractors, derricks and cranes for lifting. Whatever you're in, bulldozer or jib, you're doing the old muck shifting.
Now, it is interesting that all the way up, these materials, the chalk overlies the Galt clay, which overlies the green sand, which overlies the Oxford clay, overlying the Great Oolite series and then the Lias series. And all these series are getting older as we go up. I believe it's something like 250 million years old, this.
Rocks and cliffs and broken mountains, crushed and ground beneath the ice. covered the earth's bare bones in the plains and valleys. When you're scraping away every hour of the day, you never think what you're lifting. You're bashing away and you're doing okay. You're working at the old muck shifting.
Although I'm not a geologist, I'm fascinated by it. For instance, these big machines that we use bear a striking resemblance to prehistoric monsters. To think that our imitation of a prehistoric monster trots about up here digging up fossils that are millions and millions of years old.
Cats and the cactus, rubber-tired tractors, carries and cranes for lifting. Whatever you bring, bulldozer or jig, you're doing the old muck shifting.
We are the consulting engineers. We're responsible to the Ministry of Transport for the whole design of the road. And we are employed to design and supervise the construction.
On the day that you decide to build a road from there to here, the first thing that you need is a consultant engineer. He will do your thinking for you, he'll put your plan in gear. He's the brainy bloke who's got the know-how.
With his surveyors and designers and his peggers and his liners, with his plans and elevations and his endless calculations, he was there when it began. He's the bloke who put the detail in the plan.
Now, we actually surveyed 4 different routes for this road. There are certain standard radii, the curves, gradients and so on, and of course minimum amount of property to be demolished. Well, we planned 4 different routes in 4 different places. We've been on this particular road for 8 years.
Been on the road so long, been on the job so long.
It was one of the longest surveys carried out by a private firm.
Traveled the line, been time after time along the 50 miles.
I knew every field and met every farmer personally in all of the length of the 53 miles.
Mapped 1,000,000 hedges, culverts, streams, built embankments in my dreams. Been on the road so long, been on the job so long.
It was necessary to make sure that the line which we had provided was the best line. And the ratio of the amount of land which was surveyed to the amount of land which is occupied now by the road is something in the region of about 4 to 1. And I would say we covered, my surveyors, myself, covered some 200 miles for the London-Yorkshire motorway.
Wrote 1,000 letters to the ministry. Yes, sir, your memo of August 3. Your reference BL/CT, re-alteration of existing drainage system.
Drainage being a very big problem. That is the drainage not only of the road itself, the motorway itself, but the carrying across the road of all the existing forms of drainage.
Been on the road so long, been on the job so long. Design speed 70 mph. Check and recheck coordinates. Maximum weight, invisible load. Super elevation of the road. Minimum sight line.
Idea of the River Trent. There was a question whether the floodplain wanted a viaduct 8,000 feet long or much less.
Know every farm, every cottage and barn. Know every mile of clay. Know every field and its average yield. I know all the rights of way.
We make plans, meanwhile, of all the farm boundaries so that we know just exactly what we're doing to people. So that you can't come along and say, do you know what you're doing to my farm? You're cutting it half. You can at least say, yes, we know that, but it's inevitable.
Made plan after plan for the purchase of land, blueprinted the bridge designs. Know the lie of the land like the back of my hand. I know every boundary line.
great rush when we did this, because in spite of starting early on the preliminary design, the detailed design had to be done in something like 18 months. Yes. Middle of 1955 we started on the details, and in October 57 we went out to tender.
When the plans are all completed and the time is drawing near, to begin the job you need a contracting engineer. He's the expert in the field and he's the man who's got the gear. He's the bloke who keeps the job a-rolling.
With his managers and his foremen and mechanics and his storming, patching, planting, concrete mixers.
The surveyor, the planning engineer, the costing surveyor, project engineer who attends to technical matters.
Fitters, carpenters, steel fixers in the field. He's the man. He's the one who has to carry out the plan.
I think you get a great sense of elation at the beginning of a job. We went right through the length of this job before we started. And I had the drawings in my hand there, the plans, and I tried to envisage what it was going to look like when it was finished, just by walking through the country, you know. And in my mind had gone already, what type of work will we do, what type of machine will we employ, what type of batches will we have, how many men will we need for this job, things like that. It's a great time, but you see it start from scratch, right at the beginning.
The job's split up in sections and each has a working scheme, with the manager in charge and under him a working team. Field offices are built in shops to service the machines. Now you'll hear the excavators roaring, with the banksmen and the drivers, they're the earliest arrivers, and the engineers and planters, labourers and walking gangs, they're the boys. Wish 'em luck. They're the blokes who've got to shift the muck.
My name is Jack Hamilton. Yes. Cork City.
Frank Sennett, Ballina, County Mayo. That's where all the wild men come from.
I'm from Whitehaven, Cumberland. Oh, he come from Norfolk, near this.
Dörsau. In Polish is Itchev.
I come from Hungary.
Yes. Where am I from? No fixed abode.
Peterhead. I was a herring fishing.
O'Donnell, they call me. I come from Mayo.
Carlow. County Carlow.
From Newcastle upon Tyne.
Thomas McCool. We ever in the city of Belfast. Well, that's where I come from, way down near Londonderry.
I'm from Jalandhar, India. Too many people.
Oh, I live down in Broughton, just down the village.
Think it's West Indies.
The black men and white men, and they're all colours up there, Brindle and all. Oh, they're a good old crowd. Oh, they are, yes. Oh, they're a good old crowd. Oh, we get on good.
Every time you'll find them here. They come from here and there and everywhere.
During that time, a survey has been made to ascertain the amount of material to be moved. The planning people decide how it is to be moved and where it is to be moved to. That results in a complicated graph called the mass haul diagram, on which the whole of the earth moving is based.
The earth moving for cuttings and embankments is the major gamble of the road. It's the unknown nature of the material.
I think one of the most interesting jobs on this class of work is the muck shifting. It's a wonderful job, is muck shifting. Especially when there's plenty of it, you know, when there's 2.25 million to move altogether. Oh yes, I must admit I enjoy muck shifting better than anything. I do really, there's no doubt about that.
The consultant engineer's the man who formulates the plan. The contractor gets it moving and he does the best he can. But the labourer's the bloke who gets the blisters on his hand. He's the one who keeps the muck moving.
With his dumpers and his scrapers and his 10-ton excavators, with his rollers and his shovels and his digs and launching troubles, he's the one who fills the truck. He's the one who earns his bonus shifting muck.
It would take quite a lot of men to do the job of one of these machines, and then they wouldn't do it half as good. None on 1/10 of the time. They're very expensive. I'm not. I'm only a man that can get plenty like me.
It's not a labour job, it's a machine job. Every operation that we are carrying out is based on machine work.
Some people say to me, you're a very small man to be driving such a big machine, but you don't have to be a big man to drive these at all. Yes, a smaller man can make them drive these. Even a lady can drive these things. It's once she gets used to the scraper and the dozer blade and the winch, and that's all. Just be able to gauge distance with it.
Actually, this is a D8 bulldozer, normally known as a dozer. But basically it is a tractor, and of course the various pieces of equipment are fitted onto it. It's all a matter of how to go for the job, how to set about it. I mean, to say you can dive into that now and you get yourself bugged right up to the, well, you said you wouldn't shift yourself at all.
You learn different methods of attacking the job. You see, as we talk about this batter work, you get to a gradients of what, 1.5 in 1, 2 in 1. Well, you take these up on the side like that, you see, working that way on the side of the batter. But when you're sitting up there, with it being so big underneath you, it looks like all the world is going to fall over. But when you realise you've got 22 ton and the stability of the machine, the bottom weight of it, like, you know, it can't go over.
Come on, you gallant drivers, wherever you may be. Whether you drive a U-Glad or a 54 RB, keep your hand upon the levers, cut and fill a steady load, and take it nice and steady when you're plowing up the road. We have dug 100 airfields in the snow and wind and rain, built atomic power stations, more dams than I can name. We dug through rock and swampland, moved mountains by the load. Now we're going nice and steady, boys, a-plowing up the road.
I'd die if I was not in this work. I couldn't do any other work. I was out in these machines out in snow blizzards without anything over me, working in them, up on heights. And I still preferred it. I still preferred the muck and the dirt and the grease and everything to being inside in a factory. I don't think I could work in a factory. No, I like the rough and go, you know, plenty of rough and go. Get into the machine, dig like blazing, get into the job and go like hell and get the job done, you know.
Now look, the point is this, when you're muck shifting, it gets under your skin. I'll bet you have to forload, I don't give a damn who it is, anyone sitting here, his foot goes out down to the boards and he's away. I mean, I'm not used to driving machines, it's part of my life, it's me. If I haven't got a machine, John will tell you, I didn't have a machine at Meriden. I didn't have one for quite a while at Meriden. And I was as miserable as hell and as awkward as... You could do nothing with me, could you, John?
What you want on this work? You want plenty of sense and humour.
Well, you do.
You do, yes. Because at times it gets right up to there. Well, you must have sense and that and humour, and you must stick it.
When you're digging, days are over, and you've loaded to your last ton. When your cat is broken up for scrap, and your RB10 won't run. When you've had your last stamp on your card and reached your last abode,
for a long time after there'll be people traveling on your road.
Of course, there's a big variation in drivers, like everything else. Some good, some men's machines you never need to touch. Other men, well, you're there all the time. Of course, I'm a plant fitter working on the road, and we repair all the earth-moving machines, rollers, that sort of thing. So I served my time with Vickers as an apprentice. And during the war, of course, you gradually gravitate to various types of machines, you know, and all the stuff that the army has. And after the war, of course, well, I didn't want to go back inside again. And garage is all right, but it's a rusty old life. So I went back to India and worked on open cut coal mines. I finished the contract up in India and went out to Australia. I've spent some time up in Northern Territory, uranium mines, and down the Snowy River on the hydroelectric scheme there. And I've been roving around Australia until I came back here.
Oh, I'm a roving rambler, fitted to me trade. I can fix you anything, a camshaft to a spade. I can fix a dodgy gearbox or mend a broken tread. Decoke a Leyland engine while I'm standing on me head. So shift, boys, shift, do the job and draw your pay. When this road is finished, I'll be moving on my way. I'll clean my tools and wrap 'em in a pair of oily jeans. You'll always find me working where you find the big machines.
Tractors roll when you're working on the road, shifting clay night and day, melting with your bulldozer, tearing to the land, 50 million tons to be shifted, chalk and sand.
Of course, we human beings, we like ants picking at a big earth mound.
Rock and clay cleared away. Here's the base on which we build the London-Yorkshire Motor Highway.
Every time you turn with your big machines helps to make foundations firm. Wolves and cats feed it flat, level off the face with scrapers.
The earth moving then proceeds, and having been completed, cuttings down to a formation level and embankments up to formation level. We then do the drainage, put in drains through the cuttings and at the foot of all the embankments, and more or less at the same time we lay the sub-base material. That's the gravel and sand mixture known as hoggin, or limestone on which the motorway is built. At the same time, a start will be made on the bridges.
131 bridges planned, a single-span portal and double-span, arch-type viaducts, railway precast, cantilever bridges. Shift it, cut and fill, keep the tractors moving and slice right through that hill.
Played all right, feel it bite, shift them up to where it's needed when we build that big embankment.
10, 12 hours a day with your 25-ton machine, you earn your pay. Foreman clad sand and mud, striking through the boulder clay.
I feel now in my own mind that we are building something which is, well, worthy of the name of a road and which is something really good for the country.
Well, I don't know. I am worried about the country. I'm worried about my farm. So cut the farm in two, you see. Left some bits here and there. For the bridge, where there was to have a bad job. It's not too bad, but there you are. What can we do?
Amazed really to know and to see what was below the topsoil. It was amazing. The variation of the different layers of soil as they got deeper. Layers of sand and clay.
Limestone, chalk and silt, clear it all away. Time you've got your bridges built.
Structure 2 on the skew, there's your steel bird cage scaffold.
This particular one is a skew bridge. I should imagine it's one of the longest on the motorway. It stretches nearly 300 foot. Well, we do come into difficulties on that, you see, because you run your bird caging, as we call it. That's the actual supporting structure at a different angle, you see, but scaffolding is the most important thing on these structures. I mean, once we've got the bird caging up, the joiners follow us before the steel bricks can get in on them.
3/8 on an inch, 54-foot cross, solid steel, fix it with a winch.
I mean, it is really a heavy job, but the old machine there does the work of 10 men. 8 bars to a ton, these are.
60 tons of steel to take the concrete. 600 cubic yards of concrete for the deck. Gangs of joiners work preparing shutters.
I've been in this trade since I was a young man of 16 years of age when I started my apprenticeship as a joiner in Dublin. A shop joiner, which is mostly what these boys here are. It's what we call shuttering. But this is the first time I have met this bridge work. It's different in the type of shuttering and the radius and different curvatures that's on the structure. The main thing there is to hold the line, to keep the regularity of the curve to their satisfaction.
I'm working gang in terms of concrete pumps. We're doing about 14 yards an hour, 14 cubic yards an hour, 8 to 9 hours pumping. This next year on you want to watch your concrete, it's got to be consistent it is, and everything's got to be right about it. A bad mix and you're finished. And they're about 500 weight in each one of them pipes when they're full of concrete. That's the trouble you get. Oh, you can tell we're looking at the concrete and off when it comes out of the pipe if it's all right. You can tell we're looking at it if it's the right mix.
Keep a steady flow through the concrete pipe. Keep your vibrator on the go. Make a start on the central arch. See, there's not too much. Water check it by the clock. 20 tons an hour. You can gauge it by the knock. You've got to see the pipes of grease. See the concrete flow steady.
They cut 17 foot 6 at about this. I mean, it was interesting to see what was just underneath what we plough up. 14 foot of clay, and then we ran into chalk, and there was one vein of sand in it. It just happens to be where our bridge was, and it played Harry with the whole job. The sand, as it gives, sand will not stay. When they dug out to get the footings of the bridge in, so it just kept collapsing on them.
Sand for base won't do, dump it off the side, and the chalk it sticks like glue. Rocks and cliffs and broken mountains, crushed and ground beneath the ice. Covered the earth's bare bones in the plains and valleys. Miles of soft-face laid, second layer of 14-inch lean concrete is laid.
Bridges rise against the sky, speed the tempo, 12-month past and 6 to go.
Batchers day and night, turning out the concrete that's needed on the site.
Aye, more men.
More again, 90 months to build this road.
Come on, Dublin.
What made you come into this game?
I wanted to get outside. I wanted to get mud on my boots.
What made you come into this game?
Change of places, change of places.
What made you come into this game?
More or less forced into this pre-war by conditions of work, not been sufficient work in the London area, not for building.
And to take to the open road.
Well, there's no work up north, you see. We're going to come here for bread and butter.
In Belfast, they give a job, and for every job there is, only need one man. There's at least 100 looking for that job. I'm more contented being away from home when I know I'm doing something. Because when you're at home and you're not getting enough work, you might get a job at £8 a week, and you travel across the city maybe on 2 buses and pay your fare back and forward for a whole week, and take a lunch, tea, sugar and milk and so on, and hand your money in. You don't have very much. And lucky enough I don't smoke. Of course, now and again if I had it, I would take a small drink, you know. Well, that's just the way it is at home. Well, I'm more contented knowing that I'm doing something for the home. I've been able to do more now since I came back here.
There's no work in Peterhead. I had to leave home for the work, you see. We've been travelling and fishing, working among the heron. And when the war's finished, you see, the steam went out and the diesel come in. No steam drifters, they didn't no coal, and didn't need half the men. You see, they run the fleet then. So we had to take to something else, pick and shovel.
How long you been doing this, mate?
33 years last October.
How long you been doing this, mate?
Well, I have been near in public works all my days.
How long you been doing this, mate?
Well, since the war, since the finish of the war.
A man doing public works.
If God spares me to see the 29th of September, it'll be 21 years away from home. I've been married 21 years, I've been away for 21 years working.
When I first got married, in 1934, I was on labour for about 7 months. I couldn't get a job of any description. You take Dick, he's walked up and down this country as much as any man, haven't you, Tom?
Well, I once, in the month of February, me and I were going, we slept roof for a fortnight at back of the edge.
That's right.
All we had to cover ourselves up with a raincoat. That's all we had.
I know.
And all the time we were tramping, we tramped from North Wales into Wolverhampton, walked every inch of the road. From Wolverhampton into Birmingham, Birmingham into Lincoln, Lincoln back into Birmingham, Birmingham, we ended up into Biggleswade, Bedfordshire. Never been under the machine before. Took a barber green and Gordon took a roller. And that's how we got through.
How do you like the job, mate?
Pen work.
How do you like the job, mate?
I like it fine.
How do you like the job, mate?
It's nothing to shout about.
Working on the open road.
It's just a job to me. I mean, you just do a job and you move from one job to another. Well, that's that job finished.
There is a great deal of satisfaction in the result, no doubt about it. I mean, roads have been there for all time, haven't they? Even the footpaths we've crossed have been there for a long time, and it is a great thrill to do it, no doubt about that. Great privilege, actually.
The trouble is, of course, that in civil engineering there is so much heavy work to be done, see?
Of course, you realise this in an area like St Albans, for instance. You get quite a lot of people who don't want to move out of St Albans. But you'll always find a preponderance of people who can do the work but don't want to leave home.
If you were at home, you would get more satisfaction out of the job.
And digs? What are the digs like, matey?
This is the most backward place we've been to for lodgings. Down here, you see, in this part of the south, they haven't been used to a lot of public works. A lot of us men coming along.
What is the grub like, matey?
The grub's very poor. Some mornings they couldn't touch it at all.
What are the beds like, matey?
Oh, well, the beds, there's good beds and all in it.
In the hostel where you stay.
The bed I'm lying in. There's humps and hollows in this BJ, because it's like a camel's back. It is. I thought I was out in the desert, BJ, the first night I slept inside in it. I'm looking at camels, humps and hollows. My arse was all blisters and carabuncles and everything else. In the morning, I got a hairy walk. I thought I wouldn't be able to go to work. What? No, it's an awful joint. Concentration camp. All I want now is some gas chambers there now and smothers. That's all I want there.
Why do you live your life alone and leave your wife and kids at home? Why don't you stay? Why must you roam and work on the open road?
It's the man's place for to be at home with the wife. But unfortunately, there's no work around our part of the country now.
All the time the lads are here, you'll find them looking at the labour news or seeing, is there anything going on? That's a good job. I wonder there's a subsistence on that. I would like to go there. I'd like to get north. I'd be near home. You'd hear one fella saying, I'd like to be up in the north of England. It's just a run across to Belfast. You could go across for the weekend.
Just a note for time is your dear. Hard the work on long the day, but my heart is with you, Mary. Though I'm many a mile away, kiss the children for me, Mary. Do not let them pine nor grieve. Tell them how I'm working for them. Why our home I had to leave, building down their fields and factories, moving concrete by the load. I'll be with you in November, when when I'm finished on the road.
all trying to save money to buy a house in England, where the work is, but so far we can't get enough money to buy a house. Not keeping two homes going. You see, you don't get so much hours here. You only get about 9.5 hours here a day. Some men, it's keeping a family, if they got a chance of more hours, they couldn't get it, like you see. Last year on the road now, I never had no more than 60 hours a week. For all the time I was on the road last year in the Luton section. I mean, you said that's the main object of me being away from home all the time. I'm always hoping like, to get some money to pick up to get a house, but...
Oh, well, that's just the way it is at home.
Come, me little son, and I will tell you what we'll do. Undress yourself and get into bed, and a tale I'll tell to you. It's all about your daddy. He's a man you seldom see, for he's had to roam far away from home, away from you and me. Remember, lad, he is still your dad, though he's working far away in the cold and heat all the hours of the week on England's motorway. When you fall and hurt yourself and get up feeling bad, it isn't any use to go a-running for your dad. For the only time since you were born he's had to spend with you, he was out of a job and we hadn't a bob, he was signing on the brew. Remember, lad, he is still your dad, and he really earns his pay, working day and night out on the side of England's motorway. Your daddy here, and sure it would be fine to have him working nearer home and to see him all the time. But beggars can't be choosers, and we have to bear our load, for we need the money your daddy earns a-working on the road. Remember, lad, he is still your dad, and he'll soon be here to stay for a week or two with me and you when he's built the motorway.
Call the Automix, ask them how many tons they put through yesterday.
B Project Office to Automix, B Project Office to Automix. Come in, please. Can you tell me your total output yesterday, please?
Town base, Town George. Come in, please.
I'm George receiving.
Contact the concrete train caravan, please, and see if Love 1 or Love 2 are there, please. Over.
Will do.
Standing by.
When the muck has all been shifted and the sub-base has been made, the formation then is ready for the base course to be laid, and the boys who lay the wearing course to work upon their trade. The intercom's commandments must be heeded.
Town base town land.
Coming place, over.
Have you any orders, please? It is getting rather late, over.
To Badger 2, 100 yards, inch and a half single, 300 3/4, 100 sand.
Order 60 yards of hogging, keep the concrete train a slogging, tarring, base to tarring, and they need 100 tons of sand on section B. An urgent lot, the deadline for the job is 3 o'clock.
Dog 1 here. The concrete train programme has been altered. 26-foot train from the north is going on the west carriageway, changing at bridge 13.
Roger, message understood. We'll tell Tommy it's over and out.
Chris Larson's getting a crane in by Friday morning, which will be down here to start lifting and shaving the bits. In the meantime, perhaps you could get the machines back from here onto Friday's concrete. What I'm saying here is that these machines, you see, have got to be moved from here right over a mile down the road, which means that they've got to be shifted by the black gang, which are the fitters, and they can't dismantle them on there because the concrete, what we call green, which means fresh, is not matured. So we trundle the machines back, and we can dismantle them without harming the concrete. And then he lifts them onto lorries, and it's taken down there and reassembled, and then we start the concrete train again.
Bring up your black squad, bring up your crack squad, bring up your big road crane. We're laying the top and we'll finish the lot, so bring up the concrete train.
When you're part of a team on a spreading machine and your concrete's firm and stable, you're spreading your load and leaving the road as flat as a billiard table.
Oh, this is an SGME spreader machine. Concrete is tipped from side tipping lorries into it, so it travels on rails and can move along the rails, and the hopper can move across the framework of the machine. The concrete then just drops out of the hopper and is levelled off by the hopper moving to and fro. Behind that, you've got an SGME vibrator, which is vibrating the bottom layer, driving out all the air, and making a solid concrete. So behind, we have a second spreader, same as the first, only that spreads the top 2.5 inches.
We're driving along and we're going it strong at 500 feet a day. We're beating the clock and we're laying the top of the motorway.
When you're part of a team and you're on a machine and your concrete's firm and stable, you keep on the move and you lay it as smooth and flat as a billiard table.
Well, really, there's nothing in it. There's very little in driving them. You have to, of course, adjust your paddles and your beam to whatever depth you want to, and put your float down at the back and put it in motion. It means the train does the rest, providing you have plenty of concrete in front of it. We have done up to 860 feet one day. That's how we work. The shaving is coming up behind it, smooth over the fat.
We're forging ahead and we're getting it spread. We're laying it smooth and fine. We're bashing away every hour of the day to finish the job on time.
That actually is your vibrating screen. You see, they're in a V shape and they actually take off any surplus that the other machine might leave. In other words, it's a vibrating plane, a leveling plane. And it will bring fat on for the oscillating beam to do a really good finish. It can be set to 30 seconds, this machine. Set to 30 seconds.
is the actual finish now of this next run, you see.
The finish is made with a big tamper blade, far better than a man is able. Your trade of machines is laying it clean and flat as a billiard table.
Now this machine, which really floats along on the forms, it does that on a whole series of bogies and rubber cushions. We get perfect control with the hydraulics, and it goes along and it finishes the concrete in one pass. The full width of the road is 38 feet, but we're doing it in two concrete trains, one 26 feet wide, and then the 12-foot train will come along and bring the road out to its full 3-lane width.
Been on the road so long, been on the job so long.
It was one of the longest surveys carried out by a private firm.
Working the train in the sun and the rain along the 50 miles.
I knew every field and met every farmer personally in all of the length of the 53 miles.
Flattened 1,000,000 ridges, points, finished 1,000 expansion joints, been on the job so long. Hoppers, vibrators, wheel oscillators, dampers and plates in service. The finishing team of men and machines is playing the new road service.
It isn't quite as straightforward as that, and down in this project, we, for carriageway construction, we lay dry lean concrete to within 4 inches of the top and then asphalt surfacing. Of course, the thing to do is to look at your completion date, work out how long each process is going to take, and say, right, well, we've got to start that bit by such and such a date. We felt quite thrilled when we found we were the first project to lay dry lean concrete, and now that we've started up the asphalt, it's quite a thrill to see that going down, beginning to look something like the finished article.
You can talk about your concrete and the boys who work the train and the fellas on the hoppers in the sun and wind and rain. But the boys who lay the blacktop, sure you ought to see them belt when they're working on the highway laying hot asphalt.
We've laid it in the hollows and we've laid it on the flat. If it doesn't last forever, then I swear I'll eat me hat. I travel up and down the world, and sure I never felt any surface that was equal to the hot asphalt.
There were boys from Connemara, County Mayo and Kildare, and the Sligo Pincher kiddies, sure all Ireland was there. We was working all around the clock, you should have seen us belt. We was racing up the highway laying hot asphalt.
We've laid it in the hollows and we've laid it on the flat. If it doesn't last forever, then I swear I'll eat me hat. I travelled up and down the world, and sure I never felt any surface that was equal to the hot asphalt.
That flags that chocolate.
Will you tell him not to land on our nice new asphalt, please? He drips a little bit of oil and it won't do the surface any good. He may have to keep a little bit nearer to structure 16. Over.
We spread it in the summer and we rolled it nice and hot. 2,000,000 yards and more of it, we had to roll the lot. And the sun was blazing down until I thought me back would melt, working on the motor highway laying hot asphalt.
We've laid it in the hollows and we've laid it on the flat. If it doesn't last forever, then I swear I'll eat me hat. I travel up and down the world, and sure I never felt any surface that was equal to the hot asphalt.
Right, well, the next thing is, can somebody tell me if the Cat's Eye people have started?
Yes, they have started, making very good progress.
How many have we got to do, Bill?
5,000.
When you're speeding in your motor car and tearing through the shires, and the only thing you're hearing is the humming of your tires, you'll be riding soft and easy with the road as smooth as felt, and it's don't forget the boys who laid the hot asphalt.
we played it in the hollows, and we played it on the flat. If it doesn't last forever, then I swear I'll eat me hat. I travelled up and down the world, and sure I never felt any surface that was equal to the hot asphalt.
But I mean, we can't go on at the rate we're going because every preference has gone to concrete train, and quite rightly up to the present moment. But it's got to swing out into the field because it's pick and shovel work now that's got to be done, and a lot of it.
Labour problems, finishers needed, stumps and marches to be seeded, and the cat's eyes and the fences and reports upon expenses. Time is short, close the gap. The motorway is on the final lap.
Whenever a problem of judgment arises, it is mainly to do with ground conditions. So often with civil engineering works, it's rather like an iceberg. 9/10 of it is not to be seen. But this job makes you feel that here is something which the public are going to see. And that is a very great difference. It does give a little bit of uplift, and of course you're learning all the time, aren't you? This job will produce a wealth of knowledge for jobs that come after it.
Engineers free 4 July end, 6 August end.
The motorway there. There's one thing I would like to do when it would be finished. I'd love to drive the whole length of it, and that would finish me with it. I was there.
We needed a way cut through the land. We bought your strength and skill of hand. We needed a road, you built it. And every mile we laid, every concrete pile, every bridge and culvert made, the cost was met with toil and sweat. There's your road and we built it.
Song of a Road, the London-Yorkshire motorway, was the work of Ewan MacColl and Charles Parker, with music direction by Peggy Seeger.
And now the job is ended and the road is all complete. The embankments are all seeded and the margins clean and neat. The RB54s are gone, the cranes and concrete batchers, and the piling rigs and paver sheeps, foot rollers and the tractors with me whack. Fall the do, fall the diddly-dum-a-day. There are hedges, there are fancy shrubs and trees along the border. There are bridges, subways, viaducts and drainage all in order. And the surface is a credit to the boys who did the smoothing. You can travel at 60 miles an hour and never know you're moving with me. Whack, fall the do, fall the diddly-dum-a-day. The boys have all been paid off and they're scattered far and wide. The crane and tractor drivers and the asphalters besides. The slashers and the scaffolders, the joiners and the mixers, and the boys as pale as ghosts from working on the concrete mixers. With me whack, fall the do, fall the diddly-dum-a-day. And now along the carriageway the trucks and cars are rolling, and the 16-wheeler diesels and the trailer jobs are roaring. There are lorries with their loads of food and things that folk are needing, and in among them sporting boys in Jaguars are speeding. With me whack, fall the do, fall the diddly-dum-a-day. There are loads of nearly everything a factory can produce, everything in all creation that a man can put to use, that are carried on the motorway to all their destinations. And there isn't a doubt the motorway's a blessing to the nation. With me whack, fall the do, fall the diddly-dum-a-day. So when you're in the driver's seat and belting with your load, don't forget the casual labourers who sweated on the road. When you're racing under bridges, under clover leaf or flyway, you can thank the roving boys who built the London-Yorkshire highway. With me whack, fall the do, fall the diddly-dum-a-day.